So before we talk about all of the crazy stories from yesterday, I want to go ahead and showcase this one tweet. This was about Shohei Ohtani. So MLB gave him $150,000 to compete in the home run derby, and he gave away every single penny to the workers and the staff over at his home team, the Angels. How can you not love this guy? He might be my favorite player in all of baseball, but Akil Baddoo and Jose Ramirez and Shane Bieber, they're all kind of in the running right now. Either way, what's going on, everyone? It's Fuzzy. Welcome back to yet another MLB recap. I'm sorry that this one is probably coming out a little bit later than usual. I have slight anxiety issues, so my anxiety is at an all-time high, so we're gonna try and get this done in one take. Now, two things I want to bring up before we talk about the walk-offs and all the stuff that happened yesterday. Aaron Judge, I thought I brought this up a few days ago, but maybe I didn't. Aaron Judge, as well as 5 other Yankees players, have been confirmed to have the you-know-what. I can't say it because YouTube will strike me down. Apparently, they don't like me saying the actual word. So the Yankees, the biggest question now is, are they going to be big-time sellers, or the fact that they're almost 10 games out of first place, are they just going to roll over? Do you think the Yankees are a 4th place team, or do you think that they're going to get healthy and maybe make a trade or two and become a wild card team? I think they're probably more likely to be a 3rd place team or a 4th place team, because honestly, the Jays, they are looking fantastic. Now, speaking of the Jays, Toronto is finally allowing them back in Canada. They will be playing their first game in, what is it called, Rogers Center, in just a few weeks, so I'm super excited for that. I don't know if fans are going to be allowed in the stadium, but if they are, kudos to them, even though I know that Delta variant, everything, it's kind of coming to a, I don't like what's happening in the world right now, so we're not going to talk about that. All right, let's get these games out the way. The A's versus my team, Cleveland. So Oakland jumps out to an early 3-0 lead in the 3rd and the 4th inning, and then you have Roberto Perez starting a rally as Cleveland, they tied up in the 6th inning, and Bradley Zimmer, who has not been known to have a lot of pop, goes 430 feet to center field, and then Emmanuel Clase, he provides all of the fuel that Jed Lowry and the Oakland A's needed by this 101 cutter. Jed Lowry, he took the first pitch. He wanted to see how hard it was. I mean, Clase threw it right in his wheelhouse, and that was the game right there, as the A's are now on a 3-game winning streak. Moving on over to the Red Sox versus the Yankees. This is why I asked the question of if the Yankees are a 4th place team or a wild card team, because they cannot beat the Red Sox. Christian Arroyo hits a 2-run shot in the 2nd, and Eduardo Rodriguez was electric, going 5 2/3 shutout innings with 8 strikeouts. JD Martinez hits homer number 19 to extend his on-base streak to 29 games, and Tanner Houck, I believe that's how you say his last name, he comes in for a 3-inning save as the Red Sox, they escape with a 4-0 victory, and the Yankees, they have just been playing really bad as of late. The Jays, on the other hand, that offense is so high-powering, and when you have Robbie Ray doing his thing, it's going to be tough to overtake them in the standings. So you have all-stars Vladimir Guerrero Jr., Marcus Semien, and Teoscar Hernandez all going yard, and almost all-star Randall Grichuk, he wants in on the home run barrage as well. Bo Bichette, later on in the game, he drives in an RBI on 2 different occasions, so he ends up with 2 RBIs, and then Vladdy hits his 2nd of the day. He ends with 4 RBIs, now has 30 home runs on the season. If Shohei Ohtani did not exist, Vlad would be running away with it, and he's actually running away with the Triple Crown. In the American League, it's just going to be tough with the RBIs because Devers is always on top of his game. Robbie Ray goes 6 2/3 scoreless innings. He lowers his ERA to 2.93. I'm sorry to say this, Yankees fans, but the Jays have officially surpassed you. They have a better roster, and that's just, as a baseball fan, I can admit that. Moving on over to the Padres versus the Nationals, you have Juan Soto tying it up at 3 runs, and then Jake Cronenworth, Eric Hosmer, and Will Myers, they break it open to 10 runs. But the Padres were not done just yet, as Jake Cronenworth, he drives in an RBI in the 5th inning, and the Padres get up to 18 runs, and then Jake Cronenworth hits a single to the left side. He completes the cycle. Now, of course, Juan Soto, apparently the home run derby magic is now going to carry into the second half. He hits his 2nd home run of the game. Mateo, he ends the scoring with a home run, and the Padres set a record for the most runs scored in a single game in franchise history with 24. So good for the Padres. They are starting off the second half extremely hot. The Giants and the Dodgers, they both played yesterday, and they both picked up the W. So the 3 top teams in the NL West, they all took W's yesterday. The Cardinals, they got beat up by the Giants, as Yastrzemski, understand why he didn't debut until he was 28 years old. He has been so good ever since making the major leagues. Lamont Wade Jr. hits a home run, and then Yaz does it again in the 7th as Paul Goldschmidt, he hits a home run to up his batting average to almost 370 over his last 14 games, but regardless, the Cardinals got smacked, and the Giants are on a 5-game winning streak and 2 games ahead of the Dodgers for first place. Now, speaking of the Dodgers, they beat the Rockies 10-4. So Bellinger, he gets jammed, but he grabs 2 RBIs on this jam base hit. Chris Taylor, they call him CT3, like CP3 of the Suns. I thought that was kind of a cool nickname. He goes 435, and then CJ Cron hits a grand slam, which didn't really mean much ultimately because Will Smith, he drives in 2 RBIs and a double in the 4th, and then 2 more in the 5th inning. And Albert Pujols is just a special milestone for him. He passes Willie Mays for, I think, 11th all-time in career base hits, so shout out to the machine. The Phillies and the Marlins, they played a doubleheader. Let's talk about that real quick. The Phillies, they win game number 1 pretty much courtesy of Travis Gronkowski. He clears the bases in the 1st and then drives in another one with Ronald Torreyes in the 3rd inning. And Ronald, he makes a double play that halts a Miami rally later, and then Ranger Suarez strikes out 3 to give the Phillies a 5-2 lead and also a 5-2 win in game number 1. And then the Marlins, they they got angry. Marte and Jesus Aguilar, they do all of the damage. I mean that. They drive in all 7 runs for the Marlins in game number 2. And I just have to ask you guys, do you think that Starling Marte is going to be used as trade bait? He has been having a fantastic season. I was surprised that he was not an all-star because he has been lights out this year. The Pirates versus the Mets. You have all-star Adam Frazier driving in 2 runs in the 2nd inning, and then Francisco Lindor, this one bumps me out so much. He leaves with a side injury in the 5th inning, and it looks like he was kind of scratching at his oblique. If you've never played baseball, when you kind of finish your follow-through, sometimes it feels like it's ripping apart. It's hot. It's one of the worst things that can happen to a baseball player, so I'm hoping that it was just a slight strain and that he is going to be okay. And Buster only came out with the stupid tweet that the Mets would try and trade for Javier Baez. No, Javier Baez is a wizard at shortstop, and same with Francisco Lindor. I would say that Javier Baez to Oakland would make a whole lot more sense, or maybe to another team that needs a shortstop. I would say that Francisco Lindor, if he's fine, it makes absolutely no sense. But we saw that the Pirates beat the Mets 4-1, and later on in the game, we have Stroman versus John Nagowski, and they got in a little tussle, and then you have Defoe and Reynolds both hitting home runs as the Mets lose 2 games in a row, and they're only 3 games ahead of the Phillies. The Brewers versus the Reds. You cannot beat the Brewers lately. You have Avi hitting a home run in the 2nd, and Willie Adames does it again. 10 home runs in, I think, 30 or 40 games with the Brewers, and then you have Urias and Jackie Bradley Jr. combining to tie it up in the 6th. You have Urias hitting a home run in the 8th, and Adames, he refuses to stop punishing baseballs. A 2 RBI double in the later innings as Milwaukee explodes for a 5-run 8th, and they're 5 games ahead of anyone in their division. Moving on over to the Rays versus the Braves. So an interleague matchup, we have Austin Riley. I really don't know how he hit this ball so far. 422 feet in the 4th inning. And then Swanson, he comes in to grab the lead back with a home run of his own. And Freddie Freeman, he makes it 5-3 in the 5th inning. But then you have Austin Meadows and Joey Wendell tying up in the 8th. And Meadows, he delivers in extras. As the Rays, they are now almost 2 games back of the Red Sox. So there you go. The AL East is going to be absolutely electric for the rest of the second half. The Royals versus the Orioles. This game was over in the first 3 innings as Kansas City puts up 6 before the 4th inning. Danny Duffy was pretty good. I don't know why he was taken out. He only allows 1 earned run in 4 innings. Then you have Nicky Lopez and Whit Merrifield. They drive in the final 2 runs in the 7th as the Royals win 9-2. The Astros, they pretty easily beat the White Sox. You have Yuli Gurriel. He's been an RBI machine to begin the season. He drives in 2 in the 3rd, and Michael Brantley goes 406 feet in the 5th inning as Miles Straw, he clears the bases on a double. And then McCullers, he has earned every penny of that contract extension so far. 7 innings, 2 hits on 10 strikeouts. The Mariners versus the Angels. The Mariners do pick up the W. I want to talk about this game in depth, so bear with me. You have Torrens driving in an RBI in the 1st, and then Ty France, another one in the 3rd inning, and that was all before Kyle Seager goes yard to make it 4-1, and Haniger with a 2-run shot in the 7th. I mean, this game was practically over because Chris Flexen was doing his thing yet again. I believe he has a below 2 ERA over the last month. He goes 7, only allows 1 earned run, and Ohtani, he tries his best. He brings the game to within 1 run, and unfortunately, he's not able to get get the job done, because the only thing that would have helped him was a home run. He drives 2 in on a double, so good for him. But unfortunately, the Angels do drop that game yesterday, as the Mariners are now 6 games over 500. And I also want to mention that Jared Kelenic, the top prospect, the number 2 or 3 prospect in all of baseball, he was 0 for 42 until his 4th at-bat of that game, where he had a little base hit, and that was on his 22nd birthday. So a lot of people are saying, wow, Jared, you went 0 for 42 to honor Jackie Robinson. Wow. Also, David Fletcher, he tied a franchise record for something, but I am not going to jinx it, so we'll have to wait and see if he does it today. And the last but not least, the Cubs versus the Diamondbacks. You have Rizzo hitting a moonshot in the 4th inning, and Kyle Hendricks, he dominates through 6 innings, only allowing 1 earned run. And Patrick Wisdom, I should have put him in my most surprising players to begin the 2021 first half video. Unfortunately, I forgot to add him, but he has been a absolute force at the plate. And Hayward with a pinch hit 2-run shot. I just want to ask you guys, who is the next player that is going to get traded for the Cubs? Is it Craig Kimbrell? Is it Chris Bryant? I really don't think it's Javier Baez. To me, that makes no sense unless it's to the A's, who really need a shortstop, or maybe, I don't know, the Phillies, although I don't think that would happen. All right, everyone, well, that does it for today's MLB recap. Thank you all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Stay safe out there. Use code Fuzzy on SeatGeek to make sure that you save 20 bucks on your baseball ticket order. Stay safe, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Ooh, that was a tough video to make. I'm sorry.
Glad of it. Line drive, right field. We may have a play at the plate. Big hop. Here comes Downing. Here's the throw. It is. He knocked him off the plate. What a tag by Carter. Good ball to handle, Tony.
Oh, I'll tell you. All the way on the fly. No hitting a cutoff man in this.